Hello, very good evening to all of you. Today we are going to see a question about learning from lessons in comparison with learning from other sources. So let's go ahead with the question first. Students at schools and universities learn far more from lessons from schools and universities learn far more from lessons than from other sources. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So the statement part of the question says that school students and university students, they depend more on their own lessons assigned to them rather than from other sources. Other sources mean from other books or from the internet or from the society they live with. It can be anything. So they are more dependent on the lessons than acquiring knowledge from around. That can be from libraries, that can be from other experts, that can be from the internet, that can be from the society. It's not only the textbooks. The second sources, they are telling other sources in a wider sense. Because if I take an example for a high school student, he gains knowledge from his textbooks. At the same time, he can go to a public library and read books and gather more knowledge. He can ask to other teachers. He can ask to the elders in the society. He can ask to some experts or scholars in the society. He can refer to the internet. So we have a lot of other sources other than the textbooks or lessons what we have in colleges and schools. But the opinion here is that school students and university students, they have the sources and they learn far more things from the lessons from the textbooks they have than from other resources. So do you think this is true? To what extent this is true? This is the question. So as far as we have understood the question, we are directly going to rephrase the particular statement part of the question here in the first part of the introduction. And it goes like this. It's argued that because it's an argument, because it is an opinion, because it is an argument or because it is an opinion, I have to say, I have to start like that. It is argued that. It is argued that today's school and college students are learning more. So here I have not made any difference there. More from their syllabus. I have made syllabus instead of lessons. Rather than from other sources. Yes, rather than from other sources. The part is almost copied. So we do have a comparison of learning from lessons and learning from other sources. So the argument is that school and college students learn more from the syllabus, their syllabus, rather than from other sources. It is replicated here almost. So if you want to make the presentation better, you need to upgrade the sentence. And this is almost a base sentence here. If you need a better score, say for example 7.5 or 8, you need to upgrade this particular sentence, because this is the paraphrasing of the statement part of the question. So it has its own relevance there. This is almost true in case of school students. So I have got the connection. So it is argued. So I have started the essay like this, it is argued. Now I have connected this from the first sentence to the second sentence is connected. I mean, the cohesion and coherence part. This is almost true. So the aforementioned argument, that is the thing. The argument is almost true in case of school students. Again, it is connected. However, we have a contradiction there. When it comes to university education, it is just the opposite. So you have a lot more things to understand here, because I have neither agreed or disagreed, not disagreed. I said this is true in this situation. In case of school students, what the argument which we have made is true, and in case of university students, it's just the opposite. So this is what the presentation is. So the introduction here is complete. Now I have two parts in the thesis. I'll mark the thesis. Here is my thesis. Part number 1 and part number 2. What's part number 1 is that it's true in case of school students. Part number 2, when it comes to the university students, it's just the opposite. I do have two controversial situations here. In school students, what they have said is exactly correct. The primary reason why I feel the aforementioned opinion is true in case of school students is because of their limited exposure to the outside world. So you have the reason why we have told that in case of school students, this is true. What is true? The lessons they learn more from lessons. This is true because of their limited exposure to the outside world. To be precise, school children need constant supervision as they are immature, physically, emotionally, and intellectually. Now we are explaining why they are not exposed to the outside world. Because they are immature. They have now not enough maturity to go and refer to a bulk of books in a public library. And they are not physically mature. They are not emotionally mature. They need guidance, constant supervision. They are dependent on their elders and teachers till they grow up. They need assistance. They need assistance. They have to be guided in the right way by their teachers and elders. And if they are allowed to be free to go outside and refer to the books, internet, and all these things, they may deviate from studies. And this is the risk that we can find here. The main risk, what we have here, is that if we allow children of schools to go outside, gather information from the society or from the public library or from the internet or from other experts. It can be possible in some cases, but they may deviate from studies. This is another risk. Another reason behind my support is because of the hectic schedule of these students. So I'm marking the cohesion. Another reason. Here it is the primary reason. The primary reason is that they don't have enough exposure to outside world because of their physical, emotional, and intellectual limitations. As they need a constant supervision, they may, if they are allowed to do so, they may deviate from studies. So that's the first case. And in case of the second case is that they do have a hectic schedule. They have a number of subjects to study. They need to cover all the portions within the time frame. They have not enough time to complete their assignments and projects at schools. They have to cover all these things within this particular time, stipulated time period at school. So the lessons, they have to cover all the lessons instead. And they won't be getting enough time to go outside and gather the information. They don't have any option like that. These situations act as obstacles before them to explore more from outside the syllabus. So these act as obstacles. Now, if I look into the complexity, I can cancel off this particular sentence. These situations acts as obstacles. Now, I don't need this conclusive sentence, so I have just excluded that from my essay. Now, again, I am going with a connective device here. However, when it comes to the university, so we are going to say something opposite. That's why I have used the word however. On the contrary, by contrast, in contrast, nevertheless, when it comes to the university, each student is focused on his specifications. It's not there here. His specification, and this compels him to acquire more information related to his field. Okay, so this is the thing. When it comes to the university, each student is focused on his specializations. Now he needs to focus. He needs to acquire more information on his field, whatever the subject, whatever the major he has taken at the university. Once he realizes his study material, so I have changed this thing. Once he realizes his study materials have limitations in delivering the same, he would start exploring resources from outside. For example, an undergraduate student requires reading a lot from books other than their textbooks to get a better position. And undergraduate students requires to reading a lot of books other than their textbooks to get into a better position in his academics. Okay, so I can make a small change here. Undergraduate students requires extensive reference from various resources such as from libraries and the internet. Okay. To get into a better position in his academics. So an undergraduate students require extensive reference from various resources such as from resources such as from libraries and the internet to get into a better position in his academics. As he moves forward to pursue his postgraduate studies and research, I can say, for example, here as a connective here again. So as he moves forward to pursue his postgraduate studies and research, he needs to broaden his knowledge much intensely. So again, as he's undergraduate, he needs reference from the internet, from the books, from the libraries. But when he moves further for postgraduate or research study, he needs to broaden knowledge much intensely. He needs to broaden his horizons of knowledge. He needs both theoretical and practical exposure from around the society and can hardly concentrate only on his syllabus. So he can now concentrate only on his syllabus. He needs to go out and he needs to explore the theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge from around the society, from around the experts, from the guides, or whoever it is. Now the conclusion. To conclude, it's clear that the amount of knowledge acquired varies at different levels of education. So this is my conclusion. It varies at different levels of education. When it is more concentrated on lessons at schools, the situation is different in case of universities. Okay, so this acquisition is more concentrated on lessons at schools, whereas the situation is different in case of universities. So we have come to the end of the explanation. Here we have given a 2-paragraph essay. One, we explained about the schools and why this case is true in case of schools. The second, we have seen about the universities, why you think that this is not true in case of universities, and this is what we have discussed at this point. Thank you and have a nice day.